Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleagues Jim Patterson and Paul Estabrooks. Jim and Paul will be today's presenters and will be announcing the new Microsoft Viva goals with OnePlan: Connect Corporate Strategy to Execution. This webinar is a new addition to our diverse library of project and portfolio management videos we have available on YouTube and our website. So if you enjoy this webinar, we welcome you to watch the other videos we have available there. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again, and I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thanks, Robert, and welcome everybody. We're excited to bring you this new topic today, new offering from Microsoft, as well as OnePlan and how it will extend and provide a complete strategic portfolio management solution for your organization, connecting corporate strategy to execution. With that, let's get started with the concepts behind this and why this might be important to organizations. Now, just to set the stage, the challenges we face as businesses and with our employees and their overall experience and connection in our organizations, these challenges are more acute than ever before, and for a number of reasons. One, businesses need to operate faster today with a speedier pace of change and deal with more uncertainties probably than they ever have before in their marketplace and adapt to them faster. Also, employees often feel disengaged and disconnected in their participation within the overall context of the organization. And that's been exacerbated quite a bit by COVID-19 and the accelerated transition to remote and distributed work. Because prior to that, we still had work that was siloed, making visibility and alignment painful. But we add this accelerated remote work component to this, and it really just exacerbates that whole situation. And these challenges need to be addressed, and Microsoft is going to good lengths to address this in the corporate culture. So they've introduced Microsoft Viva, and components of Viva have been out there for a while, but it's really defined as an employee experience platform and ecosystem. And what does that mean? Well, an employee experience platform is a digital platform that helps organizations create a thriving culture with engaged employees and inspiring leaders. And there's a lot of components to that. One is the whole idea of well-being engagement, the balance between work and making sure that your personal well-being, your emotional and health well-being are taken into account to provide the right balance. There's growth and development with learning and onboarding and such. There's purpose and alignment that turns this all into action and the right kinds of action. There's culture and communications, which is, provides the ability for everyone to be informed, whether it be news and events and other communities and those types of things. And then there's knowledge and expertise to help people learn and document and capture those types of things. And all those components are in an employee experience platform. And what Microsoft has done with Viva is what's been out there for quite a while now is the Viva Connections, which is really about that engagement part. Viva Insights, which is about the balance between that productivity and well-being and providing the right focus areas. Viva Learning with development and providing skills development and overall employee and personal growth. And then Viva Topics, which has the knowledge and expertise and empowers people to do things based upon making sure that they're properly informed with what to do. So that's been available to us for a while now, and many of you may be using some of that. I get my Viva Insights email every morning, kind of alerting me to the things that require my attention and giving me some ideas on how much time I've spent on what things and have I taken any personal benefits to myself in making sure that balance is there. So those things have been available to us, and some of you may not have done that, have used it yet, but it's available to us out there in the Microsoft Viva platform. What's new, and we're introducing here today, is a new component called Microsoft Viva Goals. And it basically brings the purpose and impact dimension to the employee experience. So it creates clarity so that we can stay aligned at scale, meaning we can define where we want to go or define what success means as an organization, and then connect work to the outcomes we're trying to achieve and make sure we're in alignment, that we're all going in the same direction. It allows us to focus teams on impact and not on output. If we're working on the right things, what we should be doing should be creating impacts that align with what we want to be doing as an organization, not just output for the sake of output's sake. And then also be able to bring goals into the flow of everyday work. to make sure we have the data that we need, and so that the actions where people are working are seamlessly brought together so that we're working on the right things in an effective manner. So Viva Goals leverages OKRs to align teams around a proven business goal setting and management methodology. And OKRs means objectives and key results. And we're going to talk a little bit more about defining this, but objectives are kind of those qualitative aspirational goals for an individual, a team, or a company, because this can be done at a number of levels. But the final result or the outcome that we're looking for as an organization. The key results are associated with those objectives, but they're the measurable outcomes that contribute to the achievement of the objective, the tangible measures that say, are we on track or have we achieved those objectives? And then there's initiatives and projects that are going to go on within the organization that align with those objectives and key results that are going to be the execution areas that help us get there, to get to those outcomes. Now, this OKR methodology, 96% of employees who use OKRs understand how their work ties into broader company goals, which means that transparency makes sure that we know that we're on the right course, that we're working on the right things, and make us feel that we're contributing to the overall mission of the organization. Now, OKRs help us increase engagement and success with the alignment that we're talking about, provide focus, even individual OKRs. Given those, it gives people focus on the things that they should be working on, the things that have joint benefit to them and the organization. Transparency means sure everybody understands where leadership wants us to go and that we understand where we should be going. The agility to be able to frequently assess this and be able to adapt and correct our courses based upon data that we're getting as to whether or not we're doing the right things, or if the situation on the ground changes in the economic environment, our organization may change those priorities and we can communicate those through the same process. The key is we can strive for ambitious outcomes and have a good chance of reaching them. Now, objectives and key results, it's not new, but it's fairly revolutionary in the fact that the broadness of its adoption that's happening today. Back in the 1970s, Intel really originated this with their IMBOs, which was called Intel's Management by Objectives. And it got a lot of press in the business periodicals and papers and books for the success that it had. Now later on, Google embedded OKRs throughout their entire culture in the 2000s, and it's really an embedded part of the way they do business today. And you can see the success and the growth of Google and the achievements that they've had. Today, it's being embraced and utilized in major organizations everywhere. We talk to people every day, and we can see that that is happening. And people are adopting it because of the success it's had elsewhere. Now, what is an OKR? Outside of being called objectives and key results, it's a methodology that helps ensure that the company is focused on the efforts and that the people throughout the company are focused on the efforts that are the most important to the organization. And the objective is really what you want to do, what you would like to achieve. And the key result is how you know if you've achieved it. Typically, you'd have a handful of key results for each objective. And the key result should be something that's measurable, something that should be easy to grade, to say that, yes, we've done this, we've achieved this, we've hit that mark or that metric. And we'll be demonstrating some of that here today. And it should describe outcomes, not just activities. Say, hey, this activity was done, we checked that box, we did this to do. It's not that, it's have we achieved something? And this happens at different levels of OKRs. Now, John Doerr, who wrote the definitive book, Measure What Matters on this, says a healthy OKR environment strikes a balance between alignment and autonomy, common purpose and creative latitude. So the idea isn't here to constrain everybody. The idea is to make sure that we have the right focus in the right direction, but leave enough breathing room so that the creative latitude and the creative process can happen within our ranks. Now, the difference of OKRs at different levels, an executive level OKR might be, what is the strategic focus of the company overall? What do we want to achieve as an organization in its totality? A departmental OKR might be, how can we contribute to that company strategy? So there may be more organization strategical OKRs, there may be more tactical, and it may even get down to a personal level for an individual level if the organization would like to do that. And it might happen at different levels that impact your portfolios, your programs, the individual products, or even down to individual features within the efforts that you have in more digital organizations. Now, the analysts like Gartner are saying for strategic execution, you really need to take this strategy and you really need to align it with the execution of the things that you're doing, the projects and the efforts and the initiatives, in order to achieve the success that you want. In this digital age, they're saying that we need tools to connect the shared objectives of the business strategists to those executing the change and then measuring the true business value. It requires, investing in strategic management and execution and portfolio management in order to make this happen. Now, a solution that helps us do that and provide an electronic way to plan it and track it, the Gartner Group says the must-haves are ease of use at the senior management level so that they can participate in a manner that's meaningful to them, the ability to capture free-form data around an investment or an objective, dynamic portfolio management, meaning not something static like a static annual operating plan, but something that's a living, breathing portfolio that we can adjust to. Flexible definition of a unit of investment, because our metrics on our key results are going to be different depending on the objective and the nature of it. And then effective measurement of results against intended business outcomes so that we can do the analysis and see how we're doing and course correct and use it as decision support along the way. Now, it says that required complementary capabilities would be things like resource capacity planning, because we can commit to a lot of things, but if we don't have the wherewithal and the bandwidth to do it, it might be a pipe dream for us to achieve it. It has to have strategic decision support built into the solution. It must have business process tracking and the ability to redesign as we go. And even an asset repository, because there's things like applications and business capabilities and other things that we have in our organization that we may be dependent on or may have to be augmented along the way in order to succeed at our objectives and to achieve our key results. They should also have a bidirectional strategic communication from leadership down to those that are executing and back up, program management, and also formal scenario planning, because what if analysis is very important as we're doing execution and adjusting to the situations on the ground. Now, Microsoft Viva combined with OnePlan as a solution enables full strategic portfolio management. Strategic portfolio management has a strategy component, an execution component, and a technology or asset component. Now, what we're going to show you today and talk about is on the strategy side, we're going to be leveraging Viva goals to establish those strategies and those key results and establish where we want to go as an organization and the measures we want to have to actually track whether or not we're achieving those objectives. At the execution level, aligning those things with the portfolios of projects and the project elements and other things like that will be the domain of OnePlan, but will be tightly connected to what's going on in Microsoft Viva and aligning with those strategies that have been defined. And then the technology or the assets will also be managed in OnePlan such that we can align and see what's related or what's dependent upon success and what things have to be factored into our decision making as we adjust and try to achieve the outcomes that we're looking for. Now, with strategy, execution, and alignment, what we're showing here is Microsoft Viva, which is going to be demonstrated today. And it's going to let you structure in the way that makes sense the objectives and the key results that you need within your organization. So the strategy will be defined here. OnePlan will provide a lot of execution capabilities, both top down from a portfolio management of projects and initiatives, and all the things around those things like resource capacity planning, financial planning and tracking. And then from the bottoms up, the work execution pieces like work plans, more waterfall nature or more agile plans. And as you can see from the icons below those, it can be fed by a variety of other tools like Microsoft Project or Azure DevOps or Jira, whatever it might be, such that feeding into that execution, hence feeding and aligning with the strategy up at, in Viva Goals, is something that's highly achievable because these things will be working together in tandem in a bidirectional fashion. So with that, we'd like to show you some of this in action. Paul Estabrooks will give you a demonstration of these things working and what's available to you today.
All right, we're going to jump into this demo. So I'm in a Teams environment. I'm logged in as one of our favorite characters here, Daniel Williams, and I've logged into Teams, and I'm into the Viva Goals section, an app here on the left navigation. So as I log in, I can look at my organizational OKRs. So what are the big things that we as an organization are trying to accomplish? What are the key KPIs and so forth? Where I want to focus today is I've got a second set here, which is my OKRs, the ones I'm responsible for as Daniel, and I'm trying to understand what's going on. Where are we being successful? Where do I need to sort of divert some extra attention? Perhaps do some statusing on this. I'm looking at the stuff for this particular quarter, well, last quarter actually, but in Q2. What are my objectives and OKR, and key results that I'm working on? I have this particular OKR, so I can go in and see how it's progressing. It's progressing nicely. I probably am a little bit, I got to get maybe some other updates in. I've got lots of information around where are we at, what are the past updates that we've done on this, how are we tracking. I can comment on it, I could share it with other people, I can do all kinds of other things here, add a new key result, create a child objective, align it with something else, and so forth. So I can manage my world here. If I go back here, just one second. There we go. Underneath that OKR, I have some key results, and I can status these key results. I can do other information, so I'm going to drill in on one of these. This one you can see we've achieved 100%, so we can see the tracking. I've got some other information here. So just like I can with the OKR, or with the objective rather, I can also manage my key results here. Or, as we're going to talk about in just a minute, I could take this information from OnePlan. So the goal here would be that the business, as we just showed a few minutes ago, the business could outline their strategy, whether it's organizational or your personal OKRs or a team's OKRs, whatever that structure needs to be, and capture what are the objectives and the key results that we want to measure both this quarter and for the year, whatever sort of time horizon you're looking for. You could status them here, or we could bring that information to and from OnePlan. So where I want to go next is, now that I've sort of crafted this, these are my OKRs, you can see what's tracking, how they relate to each other and all the rest of it, and I've done that part here. Now I'm going to jump over to OnePlan. So I'm just going to pick a group. We've got lots of different groups in here, so we can support different organizations and things. But I'm jumping into our strategic portfolio management because that's what we want to show today. And I'm going to jump first to the strategy, and what you'll see here is a mirroring of the data that was first captured in Viva Goals. So we've imported that in here because where we want to take this is that alignment. We now know what we need to do. That was articulated over in Viva Goals. We can manage it there, but what we now need to do is align it with all of the execution tasks that we need to take on. So you can see here, here's my complete portfolio of those same OKRs that I was managing in Viva Goals. I've brought them over. Now, off to the portfolio. So in our portfolio, we have lots of different information that we want to track. And we've got a portfolio structure here. And so what I want to first show is some core things that OnePlan then provides. So we're going to do a whole bunch of initiatives in order to achieve those key results and ultimately accomplish the objectives. And they're listed here, sort of standard portfolio view. But what I want to highlight is a few things. First off, if I come into this particular project, you can see it's in a governance workflow. There's lots of information about it. We've captured a business case. It's been prioritized. But if I expand the enterprise architecture piece, it is linked to some of those key results that we first captured and are managing in Viva Goals. And we've actually weighted that linkage. We've said that this initiative is going to help us accomplish 4 particular key results, or help us achieve them, I should say. And so that we have an understanding of what the total investment is on each of those key results, we have split the budget of this project accordingly. Likewise, as we talked about, sort of SBM also has that enterprise architecture component. This particular initiative is also linked to some core applications, some products, and a value stream. So we have that full visibility that in doing this particular, in this case, project, we are going to, contribute to the accomplishment of these key results, as well as we're going to invest in these applications, these products, and this value stream. We have all of that information. Now, we need to execute this project. So first, we might want to do some resource planning. So one of the core capabilities of OnePlan is that ability to understand what resourcing we need to accomplish this initiative against all of the other things we're trying to do. So if you're looking at this, you'll see lots of red and green. And if I hover over any one of these, you'll see this is yellow because there is an overage for Russ in that particular month. It's a very small one of 10 hours. But that's highlighting for me as a PM that if I need Russ for 40 hours, there is some heavy competition, if you will, for Russ's time. And if you go across all the other months, it gets even worse. So we could start to plan for who do we need, what skills we need. You can also see in here, there's roles like PM and other roles in here that we're tracking where that's the role we need. And then we can execute a whole process, I won't demo it here, of requesting a resource and having them assigned to the project. And as you can see, lots have been assigned to this particular project as we move along. And we can plan for the execution of the project and knowing what resources we need. And if I switch over, we can see what we've scheduled and ultimately what's occurred from a timesheet with different views so that you can manage the execution of the project. What did I need? How did the schedule evolve? And what actually got done? And where are those resourcing conflicts coming into play? Likewise, we can manage the budget. And this is the budget that was just a few minutes ago I showed in those splits against the different key results. This budget is flowing from here. So this is my budget. I can then do forecasts. I can also draw in actuals. That might be through integration with a financial system or in combination with the timesheet or whatever the case may be. But if I look at the budget here, whoops, I need to do that. You could see I've got my total budget. I'm pulling in that resourcing data by importing the costs from that resource planner, which is why I showed it first. So you could see as I define what resourcing I need, I can draw that into the budget based on the loaded labor rates and so forth that we have defined in the system. But then I could track other costs, whether it's software, contracts, travel, and so forth. So I have a full picture of my budget as I execute this project. Now, the work plan. This particular project is a hybrid project in that it has a schedule, and that schedule is pulling from Microsoft Project Professional. So we're pulling in all of that data from Microsoft Project so that we can manage the project accordingly over in Project on the desktop, but bring it in here so we could see what's going on and make sure that we understand where the resources are, where the resource and conflicts are, and so forth. And that's driving my understanding of the scheduled work. Likewise, this particular project has a backlog. It is also connected to Azure DevOps. So that's its connected system here, Azure DevOps, where we are pulling in all of that data from Azure DevOps. And I can click on this icon and connect to that particular user story over in Azure DevOps, perhaps do an update or whatever the case may be. So we have that tight integration that we talked about earlier that brings all of this data together. So when we're executing on this project, we know what resourcing we need, we know what our budget is, and we can schedule our work using a variety of the common tools that we see in clients every day, all in keeping with the idea that we know what key results and objectives we are trying to accomplish on the other side. So to bring that full circle on a couple of things, I'm just going to go down here and grab one of our views. And now I can see what my associated key results are for this particular project. So as I do my prioritization, and I may want to prioritize on budget, here we go. And I'm going to shrink this just so I can see where we're at. And I'm going to set my target to 2022. And I can see that, I have more projects in the funnel than I have budget for. And I need to move some projects around by dragging and dropping here. I'm going to uncheck some projects, but as I take projects out of the portfolio or by unclicking them or unchecking them in this what if analysis, I know exactly which key results I'm impacting. And so if that was the most important key result, that project can't be on hold. We've got to get that project going at the expense of something else. So our decision making around priority and prioritization is driven by that visibility back to the goals and the objectives and key results that were articulated in Viva Goals originally, so that we have that clear line of sight. This is what the business says is most important, then these initiatives must go forward. That's the linkage that we want to draw here when we're doing our prioritization. Furthermore, I could come in here and filter on an associated key result and say, what are all the projects that are aligned to that key result? Are they, what, 2 of them are on hold? Well, that's a problem. Those can't be on hold if that's our most important key result. We're going to have to figure out what projects we can't do in order to get these moving again, as well as the 2 that are proposed, because we've got to get those done. And so to bring this sort of full circle, I'll kind of end on this view because I think it's kind of important. I'm going to go back to my portfolio of my objectives. So I'm still in one plan, but I want to visualize one item. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go runway. And I'm going to just shrink that a little bit so that we can all see it. Here you could see there's that objective and its key results. That was articulated in Viva Goals, and we've brought it over so that we could do all of the work it takes to do the execution, but we want to have that visibility and be able to report back. And underneath that, if I scroll down here just a little bit so you can see it, we have some projects and epics that are tied to predominantly to that first objective, that first key result. And behind that, a set of products, that applications, capabilities, and value streams. So we have that complete strategic portfolio management view visualized here. What was the business asking for? What did they articulate as what was important from over in Viva Goals? We bring that in, and how do we take that data and relate it to our architecture that we are investing in and the epics and projects that we are prioritizing and executing on to accomplish what we want to accomplish? Are we prioritized? Are we aligned all the way through? And can we report that back so that you can look at that and so the business can consume that information in Viva Goals? It's an important part of this whole message to make sure that you can see it from end to end. Where are you investing and does it align properly? But this gives power to the tools that people are using. Articulate what you're doing in Viva Goals, and then we bring that data in and we drive the execution. And Jim, I'll leave it there.
All right. Well, thanks for that. And now we'll summarize and give you some potential next steps that you can take. You know, strategic portfolio management overall as a discipline is a critical success factor for today's digital businesses. You know, Microsoft Viva Goals provides for strategy planning and execution of that strategy in and of itself. And the OKRs define what you want to do and measure if you are achieving them. Strategy should be aligned throughout the organization so that you can achieve those desired outcomes with everybody rowing in the same direction. Now, in addition to what goes on in Microsoft Viva Goals, One Plan adds capabilities to provide a full strategic portfolio management solution, as Paul had demonstrated. And Microsoft Viva Goals combined with One Plan provides the most complete set of SPM capabilities on the Microsoft platform. And as you saw, One Plan not only integrates with Viva Goals so that we can synergize at that objectives and key results level, as he showed you that they were mirrored over in One Plan. One Plan then allows you to align those with all these other entities, you know, whether it be the projects and initiatives, whether it be the applications, whether it be the products, whether it be the value streams, etc. And on top of that, One Plan integrates not just with Viva Goals, but with other tools and solutions as needed. Some may be providing you data on the metrics that support your key results. Might be different planning tools that you use to execute, whether it be agile tools like, you know, Azure DevOps or waterfall tools like Microsoft Project. The idea is to bring these all together into a cohesive hub is what One Plan adds value to bring that and augment the employee experience capabilities of Microsoft Viva Goals. We do this because One Plan is really, you know, our passion is the project and portfolio management. As you can see, we have multiple Microsoft Gold certifications at the bottom, but what we do on a day-to-day basis is project and portfolio management. We've been recognized for that. We were just recently this past month awarded the Project and Portfolio Management Partner of the Year globally by Microsoft again this year. We have a history of being recognized in that fashion, and we're proud to announce that we're there again. So we're qualified, and we have the experience, and we have the capabilities to kind of take you into this new realm if you choose to go on that journey. And we're getting recognized by the analysts like Gartner and Infotech and Scaled Agile Inc. for our efforts in these areas as well. Now, we're here to help you to whatever degree you'd like to be assisted. It might just be the technology and standing at the technology, but we can also help you with the people and process side of things. We have skill sets all across the Microsoft stack, across the Microsoft Cloud platforms, and can help you and augment with OnePlan those capabilities in those areas to help you achieve the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. Now, we give webinars like this all the time, and we have a related one we're giving next week on going into a little more detail on strategy and work execution with a complete strategic portfolio management solution built on the Microsoft platform. So we're going to take a little different tact on this, go into some different areas and some depth. And if you're interested in doing that, just go out to oneplan.ai/webinars and sign up for next week's webinar. If you want to trial this stuff, up on Microsoft's App Source, the OnePlan components are available for you to try, and this full strategic portfolio management capability is up there. There's a template there for that. We're happy to chaperone you and assist you on that. So please reach out to us if you want us to assist you to get the most value out of your time spent with this. As well as, you know, there are trials available for Microsoft Viva Goals, and we can assist you with that as well. A special offer, if you're just curious at this point about what it would take to get you from where you're at into solutions like this, we do offer a free roadmap workshop where we could have a discussion with you and review your current use of solutions and tools, you know, assess where you're at with your current requirements and maybe some things that you might want to add in your desired future state, and then what it would take to implement or migrate into a solution like this, and give you an idea of what a roadmap for the best adoption success might look like. And even total cost of ownership. Being it's in the Microsoft platform, you may own a good chunk of what you might need for this already, and this might be just an incremental investment on your part. So the next steps, take us up on the free trials, and you don't have to go it alone. Ask us, and we're happy to engage with you. Roadmap workshop, as I discussed. Or if you're not even there yet, if you want to go a little deeper dive and you want to talk about having a personalized one-on-one demo, reach out to us, and we're happy to schedule that with you and do it in the context of things that are interesting you and some of your particular pain points. You can do that by reaching out to us at contact@oneplan.ai. You can learn more about these solutions at www.oneplan.ai. The main thing is that we want to engage with you and help you succeed. We're invested in success, and by that mean we're invested in our customer success. And we want to thank you for your participation today, taking and carving out time out of your valuable day today. And you can reach out to us at the general contact us email address, or you can reach out to Paul or I individually if you have some specific questions you'd like to ask. So with that, thank you and have a great day.